Welcome back to Red Devils TV, everyone. Not Red Bull TV, but we're here to talk about Manchester United. Today, we've got a very special guest in Dan from Talk Forest TV. So, Dan, just introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me on, Dan. My name is Dan. I'm from Talk Forest TV. We talk about Forest, everything from previews to reviews and news shows.
So thank you for coming on. And obviously, Manchester United and Nottingham Forest's next game is against each other. So hence why we're doing a preview together. But anyway, so obviously as a United fan, we're going to kind of analyse majority of it, but we're also going to ask about Nottingham Forest. So, Dan, I'll ask you first about how you expecting Forest to set up, because obviously you're coming to Old Trafford. United aren't in the best of form at the moment. Do you think you can grab a few points or maybe get a draw or even get a win at Old Trafford? Or are you a bit nervous for this game?
You know what? I had this conversation on my channel yesterday with someone that actually going into tomorrow's match quite optimistic, which is not like me to thinking going to Old Trafford thinking, oh, I'm optimistic that we can get something. I'm not going to lie about it. I think it will be a hard game with Man United being at home, especially at Old Trafford. You got to think, it's Old Trafford, hard game, but I think it will be a tough game. I think Forest will set up with a bit. I think we will go 3-4-3 to fair. I think, and that I've been doing throughout pre-season, these first two games. If we show it up, we might be in a third centre midfielder in. But I think right side that, I think we'll start with Turner and goal. I think the back three says itself with Worrell, Nicarte and McKenna. I think the fullbacks will be Williams and Aurier. That unless we do get a new left back in before 12 o'clock. I think if we go with the two in midfield, I think we go Danilo Mangala. If not, I think if we go with three, we put Yates in there as well. Because when Yates came on against Sheffield United, it just won that game for us just because it got us playing again where Sheffield United had a 10-minute spell and Yates came on and just got us going again. I think with a three up front, I think it definitely be Johnson gives White a 1-8 for me. If not, I think we'll definitely play a 1 and Gibbs White. To be fair, I know we would probably get onto Orlando anyway, but I think it probably play that sort of formation or team personally.
Okay, so obviously with Forest, like you said, they can set up in multiple formations. The 3-4-3 formation is what you've predicted that they might go for, but as well, they could also set up with a 5-back. To my knowledge, Forest do set up with a mid-block or low-block type formation. They kind of like to hit teams on the counter-attack. I mean, like we've just said, we're going to mention Anthony Elanga, so that makes a perfect segment. So that Anthony Elanga's returned to Old Trafford. Now, he's literally only been gone for less than a month, but now he's already back at Old Trafford, but in a different shirt that is red. So, but they'll probably be playing in their away kit. But with Anthony Elanga, again, I understand why we sold him, and I'm happy that we sold him because he wasn't in the pecking order. Garnacho was ahead of him, Palestra's ahead of him, and Palestra's not even playing. You've got Sancho, Rashford, Antony, all these other players that are ahead of Elanga. So I can understand why we sold him. I just don't like it because, again, we know how fast Elanga is. He's got blistering pace, and especially with a system like Forest, he's definitely going to capitalise and suit that formation because once he's on the ball and he's got on a one-on-one sprint with someone, he's definitely got the pace to compete with one of the fastest fullbacks in the Premier League, and he can definitely go toe-to-toe with him. But with Anthony Elanga, I'm expecting him to have a decent career at Forest. It depends on where he goes after or if he stays at Nottingham Forest. But I do think that Forest have got a very good signing in Anthony Elanga, and I just wish him all the best as one of our youth graduates. But getting on to Manchester United now, and that is an injury crisis. So right now, Manchester United have 7 players that are out injured. We had breaking news last night that Luke Shaw is now injured for we don't know how long for. So that's a massive blow. We've got Mason Mount, who's supposed to be out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. He won't be returning until after the international break. We've got Rasmus Højlund, who we don't know who's going to be returning. Our new sign that we spent £72 million on. We don't know when he's going to be fit to start. We've got Malacia. We've got Kobe Mainu. We've got Tom Heaton. And it's just ridiculous, the fact that how many injuries United currently have. And it just makes you think that what is going on behind the scenes? Are we not getting the correct people? Are the doctors not doing their part? Are the players just not taking care of themselves? That's the issue here. And it's leaving holes in the team. But it's kind of a blessing in disguise, in my opinion, because over the last 2 games against Wolves and Spurs, I would arguably say that Shaw hasn't been good enough for Manchester United. So I'm not saying I'm glad that he's injured, but I'm kind of glad that the fact that Shaw will be missing out on this game because he can't play that inverted fullback role. So I think playing someone like Diogo Dalot at left back, which he has done for Man United in the past, we might see a more balanced back line for Man United. So I'm just going to see if that might happen. But some fans say that it'll be Martinez that gets shifted to left back and Lindelof will replace Martinez in the centre-back role. But when it comes to Mason Mount, I have no idea what Erik Ten Hag is going to do because, again, whether United fans like it or not, Mason Mount was our priority signing. We gave him the number 7 shirt. We spent nearly £60 million on him. Whether you like it or not, he is our priority signing of the summer. So it's kind of an issue that he's already injured and he's going to be out for over a month, which is, for me, a blow, whether you think Mason Mount's played well for us or not so far for Manchester United. But, Dan, I'll come back to you now. Who do you think will replace Mason Mount? Do you think it'll be Scott McTominay, Donny van der Beek, Eriksen, or someone else? Who do you think would actually replace Mason Mount for this period of time whilst he's out injured?
You know what? Funny enough, I was with Scott McTominay. I think it was Sky Sports that was saying it last week. I think it was Gary Neville that was saying it, saying that they are trying to play everyone by Scott McTominay for some. I think it was it was Gary Neville, and
Yeah, it was Gary Neville. Yeah,
which I'm sort of get why, because obviously it's not worked out, but for me, he's one of them old-fashioned midfielders that you do like in there that it will run up and down, and it would. I mean, I haven't watched Scott McTominay properly. I will own my hand up, but for me, he was a bit of an old-fashioned midfielder. But me personally, I can see you like playing Everton in there personally, just because when he has played against us, like more last season, it did keep you guys ticking against us. And when he got the ball, he kept on passing it, and we actually struggled with it last season. Whereas this season, I think it might be a lot more to it. But I think if you guys do play at them, I think it'd be Everton personally.
yeah, and that was the point I wanted to come to. That obviously with the Gary Neville situation, that obviously Roy Keane called out Manchester United, saying that we're the new Spurs. We seem desperate. Gary Neville was saying that he doesn't understand why we didn't bring on a player like Scott McTominay against Spurs. That player that we need the physicality. We need a player that's going to be the engine, the workhorse of the midfield. Because since we sold Fred to Fenerbahce in Turkey, we haven't replaced that workhorse. Whether you liked Fred or not, for me, he was a very inconsistent player, but on his day, he was absolutely brilliant. And Manchester United haven't replaced that workhorse. We brought in Mason Mount, which I back for signing, by the way, because I want to back every single Manchester United signing. But at the end of the day, you do need that workhorse. And this is why, for me, Amrabat from Fiorentina would be a perfect signing for Man United. We spoke about it on stream last night, talking about how Fiorentina have lowered their asking price to €21 million for Amrabat, which I think would be an absolute bargain for Manchester United to sign. But now we're going out and apparently we're in the market for a new left-back for the time being while Luke Shaw's out injured, which for me makes no sense. Go and sign Amrabat, Man United, if you're ever watching this. If Joel Glazer, if Richard Arnold, if any of you Pillocks are watching this, sign Amrabat because it's doing my head in. But anyway, when it comes back to who's going to start over who's going to replace Mason Mount, I do think you're right when you do say Eriksen, because majority of last season, before Eriksen got injured for the first probably 4 or 5 months before the World Cup started, it was the midfield three of Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, and Eriksen. So the chemistry is already there. The players know each other's strengths and weaknesses. So no doubt it will be Christian Eriksen that does come in for Manchester United to replace Mason Mount. And plus, Mason Mount and Eriksen are kind of similar players with that. They're more playmaking, thinking players instead of actual broad box-to-box midfielders. I would like to see Scott McTominay come in, but again, I do believe that you're right, Dan, that it will be Mason Mount. That will be Eriksen to replace Mason Mount. Now, Rasmus Højlund, obviously, we've just mentioned that he's still injured, and will he get his debut? So far, the answer is no. We haven't received any update on Rasmus Højlund. Is expected to start for Manchester United or be involved in Manchester United's squad against Nottingham Forest tomorrow. So for me, it is quite frustrating because, like we said, we've spent £70 million on Rasmus Højlund. I do think he's going to be a good player, but so many people now are starting to say that we've now signed the combination of Erling Haaland and Anthony Martial. Like, it's just, I understand because we've brought him injured. But people are making it out to be that he's had a load of injuries throughout his career. Yes, he's had an injury. He's got a back injury. But if you look at his actual medical history, he's only had 2 injuries that have kept him out for a combination of 3 weeks throughout his senior career. So over his 4-year professional career, he's only had 3 injuries, including this one. So for me, I don't think that's too bad. But I just think that right now he's just pulled something or he's hurt his back, because that's apparently what it is, a back injury. And all of a sudden, it's just like it's come crashing down for the hype around Rasmus Højlund, because we do need a striker. We are struggling to score goals. Man United are currently sitting 3rd in the Premier League when it comes to big chances created. We're just behind Newcastle and Brighton. So it's literally just the fact that United can't put it in the back of the net. And this is where, for me, I would change our formation, not formation. I would change our starting 11 to how we've recently played against Spurs and Wolves, because I think that playing someone like a Sancho at a false 9 or a Martial at a number 9 who will draw out the defenders, it will be that's how Manchester United need to learn how to score goals, because that allows players like Rashford and Antony to drift in the inside and make them central runs and get in behind the defensive line and get through one-on-one and try and score the goals. And that's where they're at their most dangerous. And with a team like Forest, who will play either a back 3 or a back 5, they're going to be setting up for the counter-attack. So if Manchester United can, let's say, intercept the ball on the halfway line whilst Forest are on the attack, then that's where we could kind of counter-attack you in that sense. But when you think of Manchester United, who do you think is going to be our key player in this game, Dan?
Rashford, Rashford, to be fair, we all know Rashford last season, it was just unplayable at times. I mean, he scored that goal against us in the top home game, and I mean, I thought that was just it was just unreal. We just gave him too much space for that, and last season it was just unplayable. And I think he just needs that goal or that game just to kick start the season for him personally, because we all know Rashford capable of it. Didn't know shadow that, but it just needs that goal, or it just needs that special moment just to kick start this season. To be fair.
Yeah, I completely agree. I would say probably Marcus Rashford or Bruno Fernandes will be our key players in this game, because Bruno Fernandes, obviously being our captain, you could argue Bruno Fernandes has been out of form over the last 2 games. But at the end of the day, you could say the same with every single current Manchester United player that were struggling to score goals. There is a massive hole in the midfield. And thankfully, our defence is kind of the most consistent part. But we went and lost 2-0 to Spurs in our most previous game. So that's obviously that's where it comes to the issue now. And with the signing of Andre Onana, I do believe he is a very good goalkeeper. But in that Spurs game, I just don't know how he didn't save that second goal for Spurs. It was literally just rolling at like 2 miles an hour, and Onana just stood like a scarecrow and just didn't just move. It was like, the way to describe Manchester United right now is that we are literally like, just imagine a field full of cows on laxatives. That's literally how Manchester United are reminding me right now. It's an absolute shit show. That's literally that's how to describe Manchester United currently. And this is where I'm not enjoying. Obviously, Dan, you'll know about Talk Sport, But what is doing my
Yeah.
head in is the fact that they're constantly trying to put a negative agenda or negative propaganda out there for Erik Ten Hag and trying to make him seem like he's this terrible manager. He had one good season for Man United while everyone else was playing poorly. He was lucky to win the Carabao Cup because it was Nick Pope who got himself suspended for the red card. If Nick Pope played in goal, United wouldn't have won that game because it was Karius. Like, I understand because Manchester United, whether we're hated, adored, but never ignored. That's the best way to also describe Manchester United, because whether you hate us or love us, there's always something to talk about Manchester United. And Talk Sport love it because that's where they get majority of their views from, slandering Manchester United, slandering Casemiro, Erik Ten Hag, whatever. That's what Talksport and other channels like doing. They like to target us. And you know what? I'm here for it because you know what? Instead of being like, oh, please stop saying that, it's not very nice, I'll be like, come on, come and say whatever you want to us, because this just shows that Manchester United is still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We've not been very successful over the last decade, but we're still one of the most feared clubs and most talked about club in all of England. And this is where I say to the haters of Manchester United to be like that. Soon you will be silenced. You're on the microphone right now. You're literally on the open mic, on karaoke, you're singing your heart out, and then what happens? You open your eyes and there's no one in the bar. I mean, you'd be like, all right, it's my time to leave. That's literally like what it comes to when it comes to the hate of Manchester United. But Dan, we'll get into the score predictions. Now, before the season, I said 3-1 to Manchester United, but this was before we played Wolves. Right now, I'm going to say we are at Old Trafford, so Manchester United are also going for a record of 30 consecutive wins in a row at Old Trafford, which would be a nice record to beat because that also beats Erik Ten Hag's win ratio as his manager, because he never won 30 games at home before in a row. So when it comes to score predict, I'm still optimistic, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is a 1-0 or 2-0 win to Man United. I'm not going to say we're going to batter you because I do feel like that I believe Morgan Gibbs-White will definitely be a player that will shine in this game. I think that he's a very good player. Don't forget Brennan Johnson as well, another good player for Forest. So, yeah, I do believe that United will win 1 or 2-0 because obviously I'm going to back my football club. But you said before as well at the start of the show that you're optimistic about maybe getting a result at Man United or Old Trafford. So, what is your score prediction?
I'll be honest, yeah. I'm not going to lie. I do feel optimistic for some reason. It's I think our good Forest happen. I think if I start, well, I think first 20-25 minutes, I think we'll put in a very awaiting performance, as I call it. I think we'll try and let you lot have the ball, but then we hit you on counter attack, and I think that's the game worn on. And if we're still in the game, I think I take a 2-1 Forest, and I think, as everyone said, the best form of defence is attack. I mean, showing that against Chelsea, Liverpool last season, if we go to places and we do play, we can match anyone. So I don't know. I've been saying 2-1 now, I have Forest. But I think if we draw, I'll be happy. I think I take a draw all day long. But I think if we win, it'd be massive. I mean, look, watching Man U, they're not on the A game, but they want to get that record tomorrow. They want to kickstart the season, and they want to put in a good performance because obviously, like you said, Talksport, they had an agenda with first last season, and they seem to switch their agenda onto Man U for some reason, just to get through and that. So yeah, I'd go for 2-1 Forest.
Yeah. And Kimmich, a regular commenter on the channel, saying Awoniyi is a threat, not going to lie.
Yeah,
He
it is a
definitely is.
threat.
Last season, you probably could have put him down as one of the like flop of the seasons, you could have said. But over the last 6 games, you could say, right from last season to this season, he's been brilliant for you. And that goal he scored against Sheffield United, I mean, he's a very good player. And I do think that United need to be careful because he's very dangerous in the air. United, this is where I think that Scott McTominay would be perfect because with a player like Awoniyi, it's going to be a tough game in my opinion. But just ask you, obviously, do you think Amwani is going to be important in this game, or do you think that you're going to be using your wingers and midfield to kind of hurt Manchester United, and Amwani is going to be kind of a pawn on a chessboard?
I'll be honest with you, it depends how we set up, like I said earlier. I don't think we'll be as open with the wingers tomorrow. I think being away, I think if we're losing 1-0 and we're trying to chase the game, I think yeah, we'll bring Lando on and play Johnson and have them to us wingers because we did that last week against Sheffield United. We bought Lando and we bought Yatesy on and we went 4-2-3-1 and that Sheffield United didn't know what to do. So I think right side of that, I think we won't be as open in terms of the wingers. I think we'll be quite tight knit. Then towards the end of the game, if we are changing it, I think we will go with. I think Awani, the thing is with Awani, a lot of people wrote him off start of the season. No one gave him a chance. But he got injured, unfortunately. He scored against Southampton, got injured, and he got himself fit. And he's match fit. And that when we start to see the really Awani, like scoring goals, he's physicality and all that. And he's that sort of modern day number 9 now, where he can get to feet and run at defenders and score goals. Whereas like an old number 9 like Chris Wood, he proved what he did last week because he chucked him on and he's lethal in the area. He's more of a target man, whereas one is more of a modern day target man where he does everything. So I think it can be a really big threat. And I think if you guys played Harry Maguire tomorrow against one, it'd be. I mean, yeah, um, you just proved it for me that I think if Harry Maguire played tomorrow, it, I'd be worried perfectly.
Yeah.
Honest.
I mean, Jobs for Football says a 4-0 Man United, our season starts tomorrow. I mean, I love the optimism. That would be absolutely incredible if we could win 4-0. But this isn't the Carabao Cup of last season where United did beat Forest by quite a few goals in both legs. But again, I love the optimism. And then Kimmich also says that Shaw injury is a massive blow. Now, I do think it is because Shaw, again, I do think Shaw's a very good player. But Shaw, for me, is loved by the fan base, but again, a very inconsistent player for us. And he can't play this inverted fullback what Erik Ten Hag has requested him to do. So I think this is kind of blessing in disguise, where we get to see a player like Dalot come in, or maybe an Alvaro Fernandez to come in and play that fullback role that Erik Ten Hag wants from his left back. And I do believe that Shaw being injured is, like I said, a blessing in disguise. And someone like Dalot or Fernandez coming in could maybe make the system a bit more balanced, in my opinion. But I do think that it is an injury blow. But at the end of the day, there's nothing we can do about it. We've just got to use the players we have available and just hope for the best, really. Red Devil Studio, nice to see you, pal, saying we are screwed. I don't think we are. I don't think we are screwed. I think that we've got a chance. I wouldn't say it would, but I'd say that it's just the fact that this season just hasn't gone the way that everyone planned. Obviously, we ended last season on such a high. We got third place. We won a trophy. We're in the Champions League. And at the end of the day, I just believe that United just haven't had the best start to the season. But when have United ever started a season strongly in the last 5 years? We haven't. We haven't. I don't think we've actually won our first 5 games. I don't think we've actually won our first 5 games in the last 5 years. It's where we've drawn or lost. United have never started a season off strongly. And Red Devil Studio says, like the vid, guys. Yeah, everyone who's watching, please like the video. It really helps out the channel. But Dan, obviously, we'll talk about a bit more about Forest and obviously Steve Cooper. Now, do you think he's the right man to take you guys forward? Because again, last year I was describing it when obviously you made all these signings and you had a terrible start to the season. People were thinking that you're going to get relegated. I personally thought that. I mean, I said it from day one that it was going to be Leeds, Leicester. Well, not day one, but as I think it was around 5 games to the end of the season, it was either Forest, Everton, Leicester or Leeds to go down, and I predicted it was Leicester and Leeds to go down, and Forest obviously stay in the Premier League. But again, I described Forest last year as just the Red Forest, where it's an easy walk through. You're going for a walk with your dog, and it's just you just walk past them. But obviously, Steve Cooper has really turned it around, especially over the last few games. I mean, surviving relegation, and obviously this season, you seems to be starting well. So, do you think Steve Cooper is the correct man to take you to the next level?
I do, and I've been saying this for a while now, and I know I said it last season when we spoke that the thing I like this summer is that we're not gone OTT with transfers, like because since Marinakis and that been it, part of the first summer when Warburton was in charge, under Marinakis, the last couple of seasons we've just brought players like you wouldn't believe it, and start of the season we always had a new squad. Whereas last summer we needed to do it, and obviously Talksport made a big thing about it. And now towards the end of the season, Cooper found that settled level. He found the way of playing football with this level. He found a way of doing things right, and obviously he got the best out of the players, got the best out of one day. And this summer it's been quite a nice summer for me because we're not gone out and bought 20, 30 players. That we actually have got a really good course group of players now where they know what Cooper wants. Cooper knows what he wants from them. He knows how to play. We just need to add that bit of quality to the core group of players that we needed to, because didn't know shadow that we have got a good core. We just needing the depth, and obviously been in Landowin, who's got experience in Premier League. Then obviously getting a couple more players in as well, just to add that really quality to the group. It will open. So I think Cooper, he knows what he wants now. I think Cooper will take us forward, and I think giving him the time as well to import these new signings in to the club, because I'll be honest, yeah, it's his first summer at the club where he actually had a squad, because the season we came up, it weren't his squad. Last season we needed to buy a new squad, whereas this season he actually got this core group of squad now where he can work with adding players to build on it. So I do think we will start to see that progression side, and I think he will take us forward.
Yeah, and I do think that obviously it's always good for the fan base as well that that the owners are going to back him, because the owners could have sacked him last season when you were in that relegation battle and could have got someone else in. And obviously Everton made that risk by getting rid of Lampard and appointing what's he called? What's he called? Gravelman. What's he called? What's he called?
Right.
Sean Dyche, that's it. Sean Dyche. I just know him as Gravelman. I couldn't remember his name. But yeah, I do think that obviously Forest could have sacked Steve Cooper, and it's clear to see that it's good that the Forest owners are backing Steve Cooper, and again, hopefully, well, not like hopefully for you guys that he does keep progressing and gets higher and higher up the Premier League table. But Kimmich, I've left you a comment on the screen, is that we need to see some of the youngsters getting some game time. Now, me and my friend watched the game the other night of Stockport versus United under-21s for the Papa John's Trophy. Now, I can't say that there's any youth players currently in our system that actually excite me apart from Kobe Mainu and Alejandro Garnacho. Daniel Gall looks like a decent player, but I just don't think that, there's certain youth players that have excitement about them. There's certain players that that are going to do well and will fit into the senior team. I watched that Stockport game. Obviously, United went to win 5-3 on penalties and progressed through the competition. But at the end of the day, I can't see any other team. I can't see any of the players in our current youth team that actually excite me for be able to bring through this season. Currently, we've got Kobe Mainu out injured, who had a decent pre-season, and no doubt he'll be incorporated into the squad this season. But apart from him and Garnacho, I can't see any youth players that actually really excite me. But that's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments down below on if there's any youth players upcoming that you want to see in Manchester United squad. But when it comes to this youngsters that is said, for me, there's one player that I want to see, and that's Palestra. Now, I made a video on Palestra a few days ago talking about what is his future about at Manchester United. So if you want to know more about our video, obviously go and check it out. But Palestra for me is one of them players that is very under the radar. Manchester United signed him for only 10 million euros. But we've signed players like Amad Diallo for 25 million euros, Jadon Sancho for around 85 million euros, and you've got Antony for 90 plus million euros. So them three players alone, like that's nearly 200 million euros in actually it's over 200 million euros in right wings that we've bought, and none of them have succeeded. Amad Diallo, I'm not convinced about. I think Palestra is the much better player. I think Amad Diallo had a very exciting loan spell for Sunderland where he was scoring a lot of wonder goals, but his performances weren't convincing to me, in my opinion. So I definitely want to see Palestra ahead of Amad Diallo, but Amad Diallo is currently out injured. So no doubt when he comes back, Palestra will just won't get any game time again. And this is where I'm kind of hoping Palestra takes this loan opportunity to Sheffield United because he'll get consistent game time. He'll be able to work on his trade, and become a much better footballer. But for youngsters, I would want to see Palestra in this youth team. But apart from that, obviously, I think that's everything covered. Obviously, Dan, I know you've got somewhere to be at 11 o'clock, so I'm not going to keep you any longer. But honestly, everyone, thank you for watching. Make sure you leave a like on the video. Go and check out Forest TV. And obviously, I just really appreciate this collaboration. And here's to a good game tomorrow. I'm going for a 2-0 victory for Man United. Dan said 2-1 or a draw. So no doubt one of us will be wrong because no one ever gets the predictions right. But thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. We'll probably do a stream later on this evening if there's any breaking news. But if not, just tune in for a video that will be posted later today. But anyway, thank you for watching, everyone, and I will see you all very soon.